Welcome to Lightsteel Hockey's quarantine camp. We are on speed and strength day 2. Today is going to be upper body and core. So we're focused on strength for upper body, relative strength, getting stronger in relation to our body weight. And these are all kinds of exercises you can do at home with minimal equipment. So we're going to get into a quick warm-up set, just one set through each exercise, make sure we're ready to go. And then we're going to do our strength segments with a couple paired exercises, upper body pulling and upper body pushing, 3 to 4 sets, 5 to 8 repetitions per exercise. If you get to the 8 and you can do 8 for all 3 sets, then move into the next level of the exercise for the next workout. We're going to make sure our rest is quite long, 90 to 120 seconds, so that we're repeating the same effort each time and we're not just working on conditioning, we're working on our strength. Okay, and then we're going to get into our core. We've got 3 different types of core training here. We are doing anywhere between 2 and 4 sets. Maybe start with 2 unless you're feeling really good after the second set, and then you can do 3 or 4 if you like. And we're going to have 60 seconds rest in between those and do that one as a superset of 3 exercises. Lastly, we've got a prehab and mobility, just one set, working on a few different exercises to make sure our shoulders are healthy and we're maintaining good posture and we're ready for contact within any sport. Okay, we are now into the warm-up section. So we've got our 6 exercises here. We're going to go through nice and quick. First one's going to be skipping, and we're just going to do this to get our heart rate up. So a couple minutes here, get going, get warm, make sure we're focusing on our feet and jumping properly, landing on our toes, pushing off through the big toe with proper foot function. Then we're going to get into shoulder 1-2s. This is one of my favorite exercises. This is only going to work if you have a band. If you don't, you can do something else, just some arm circles, get those shoulders moving. What we're doing here is rotating our wrist. So first of all, we're going to grab the band with our thumb up, and it should be anchored about shoulder level. We're going to rotate to the inside of our body, moving our scapula and reaching as far up the back as we can. And then we fully rotate the shoulder the other direction, pull overhead, and reach to the other shoulder. On the way back, you want to let it come back nice and slow and feel a little bit of a pull into that rotator cuff. And then we're going to rotate that shoulder again and repeat. Up the back, rotate up and across. This is my absolute favorite exercise for maintaining healthy shoulders, especially post-surgery for me with my bad left side. It makes a huge difference to make sure your shoulders are good for all kinds of ranges of motion and have some strength through that. So we're going to repeat that for about 8 repetitions per side, and then we get into our next one. The next one's just going to be dead bugs, so warming up our core a little bit. Remember, we're pushing our back and spine into the ground and making sure that you cannot put a hand underneath your lower back. So force that belly button down and then alternate either side, somewhere between 15 to 20 repetitions. After that, we've got a quick support hold. So we're gonna go for somewhere between 10 seconds and 30 seconds here, just making sure your back is working properly and your triceps. So this position right there, put your hands slightly in front of your hips and hold. If you can hold with your feet off the ground, that's great, but it's going to be really tough on your hip flexors. So that's going to be a really hard thing to do. You can do it with your feet on the ground and that's just fine. Once again, 10 to 20 seconds. Next one after that, we're just going to go with some push-ups. So if you can't do full push-ups, then do incline push-ups, pushing up on the couch or a table. But just warm up all the pushing muscles of the upper body, making sure our back is nice and flat and controlled, somewhere between 5 and 10, and then just some back rows as well. So inverted rows, working on warming up our muscles for upper body pulling. You can do this from a different angle. The lower you go, the harder this is going to be, and this is one of our strength exercises as well. So if you don't have something to do upper body rows with, then this is going to help you out a little bit. We'll go through this really quick.
If you have curved rings, you could adjust them to any level and eventually go from incline rows to horizontal rows by elevating the feet. Rows can also be done under a table, but it requires a very sturdy table and the grip is often awkward. But if you don't have those options, you can also do them just by getting a bed sheet. So this is a bed sheet and there's a knot at the end of it. It's just a simple knot, okay? And I'm gonna throw it over the door right here, and I put it such that the knot is right behind it, and I close the door, make sure the door is shut, Okay? If there's a lock on the door, preferably lock it as well for safety. Now, put your feet close to the door so you're standing really close, and hold it about chest high, your hands about chest high, and just slowly lean back until your arms are straight and up.
So you can do this with one bed sheet between two hands, or you can do it with two bed sheets and then separate those hands off to be just like rings. And doing this, you can get into some different angles as well. So this is a good hack to use if you don't have the right equipment, so that you can do rows. You can also get a little bit lower down, and then it's going to be quite a bit harder as you go. So the more of a vertical angle, the tougher it's going to be to pull with these. So that would be our warm-up all done, and then we're going to get into our strength components. So we've got our first superset. We're working two opposing muscle groups. We're going to do our pull-up progression and our dip progression to start. So here's the three exercises for pull-ups. First one is going to be negative pull-ups. This will be our level 1. If you can do negative pull-ups, then you can go into the full pull-ups. But if you can't get 5 full pull-ups yet, then we're going to work on our negative pull-ups. Find a doorway or something you have to hold on to, and we're going to assist ourselves on the way up by jumping. So jump on the way up and then hold and release on the way down. We want to hold for up to 10 seconds on our way down and really fight it. That's going to work on building up the strength required for that full pull-up. So if we're doing negatives, we want to do somewhere between 3 and 10. Once you can do maybe more than 8, then it's a good idea to go up to the next level. The next level of that one would be our normal pull-ups. We're going to go full range of motion here, so arms straight at the bottom or very close to it, and then pulling up here. I don't mind whether you have an overhand grip or an underhand grip. That's going to change slightly the muscles used in the arm, but it's going to work your back really well regardless. Depending on what setup you have, just go ahead with that. We're going to do, again, somewhere between 5 and 8 repetitions for 3 sets. If you can get 8 repetitions each set, then you would do the level 3 one the next time. Our level 3 one is going to be archer pull-ups. So this is going to be quite a bit harder. We're pulling up to the side, trying to get our chin out wide and our other arm as straight as you can. I'm a little bit limited by my door frame here, so I can't go fully out to that straight arm because I can't grab it any wider. But that's the idea, and that's going to be a really hard exercise for pretty much anybody to do with their body weight. So we are going to pair our pulling exercise with our dip exercise here. So we're going to do one set of pull-ups for 5 to 8 repetitions, and then you're going to do your dips a few seconds later, and then we're going to take our rest for 90 to 120 seconds. So our dip level 1 is a support hold. You can do this between 2 chairs or a countertop or a couch or 2 tables, but we're just going to work on the strength to hold our body in this position with our shoulders down and back. Once you can do that for 30 seconds for a few sets, then we would go to dips in a chair. So feet still on the floor, going down nice and low, getting to a 90-degree bend in your elbow, and pushing up. This one's going to fall into our 5 to 8 repetition category. If you can get 8 for every one of them, then you move on to level 3. Level 3 for this progression is just going to be normal dips. So you can do these on rings if you have them, and that's going to be harder. Or if you don't, you can use a countertop just like I am. 90-degree countertop is going to be really good for these, and we want to get nice and low into that 90-degree bend, go all the way down and push all the way back up. Same idea, 5 to 8 repetitions. If that's not hard enough with 8 repetitions, then make sure you get some rings and do it on some rings, because that's going to make it significantly harder. Okay, so once again, just to recap, that's superset. We're going our pulling exercise and then our pushing exercise, and then we're resting for 90 to 120 seconds, and then we do it again, and we do it again for our 3rd set. And if you want to go 4th set, go right ahead. Then we get into our 2nd superset. We've got push-up progression and row progression. So same idea, you're going to do your push-up and then your row, and then you rest 90 to 120 seconds. Our level 1 for push-up is going to be an incline push-up. So find a table or a countertop or something where it's going to take some of your body weight off, and we're doing push-ups right there. We want to go all the way to the top, extend the arms, and then touch the chest nice and low at the bottom. We want our elbows to come down about 45 degrees from your ribs on the side. We don't want to be up here for our push-ups because that's going to cause shoulder problems and extra strain and impingement. If that's easy, level 2 push-up, just normal push-ups, making sure we're in good position, we're holding our back nice and flat on the top. Push-ups on the ground, make sure we can touch our chest. If you can't touch your chest on these yet, I want you to do incline push-ups until you have enough strength to do push-ups for 5 where you're touching your chest. And then level 3 would be archers. So if the push-ups are still too easy, we're gonna do archer push-ups just like our pull-ups. We're trying to get a pretty straight arm on one side, move our body across, and this is almost like a one-arm push-up. It's going to be quite difficult for pretty much everybody with body weight, although if this isn't hard enough, then you can do one-arm push-ups as long as you can do it with good form and keep your shoulders level. Okay, after we've done our push-up set, we're going to go right away into an incline row or an inverted row set, and then take our rest. So level 1 for rows is going to be incline rows. We grab our bed sheet or our rings or a couple ropes if you have them, or a TRX, and we're going to do incline rows. So get on a little bit of an incline, and then we're pulling with our body, retracting our scapula together and pinching with our back muscles at the back and pulling those elbows into the side. If that one's too easy, we go to level 2, inverted row. So just get a steeper angle, and same idea. This is going to be a little bit better if you can anchor it to a roof. I don't have an anchor point in my apartment, so I've got to go in the door, which makes it a little bit trickier to get a steep angle for this one. But the steeper the angle, the harder this is going to be. You can also elevate your feet, and that's going to put even more of your body weight into this row. Okay, if level 2 is still too easy, we're going to go into our single arm incline row. So find an angle where this is really challenging, one arm, and you've got to keep your shoulders level, so we don't want to be twisting on our way up, but pull and slowly back down, pull and slowly back down, one arm at a time, and that's going to be significantly harder. All right, recap again. We're doing our push exercise for 5 to 8 repetitions, and then we're right into our row exercise for 5 to 8 repetitions, and then we're taking our 90 to 120 seconds of rest, repeating for 3 to 4 sets. Once we've done that, we're through our strength segment and we're into core. So for core, we've got 3 different segments for this: anti-extension, anti-rotation, and then extension. So our anti-extension exercises, level 1 is going to be our dead bugs that we've been doing for warm-up. So you're going to make sure your back is pressed down to that ground, and then we're going to go for about 30 repetitions here, nice and slow, opposite arm, opposite leg, maintaining really tight core position the whole time. If that's too easy, we go hollow body hold. So this one, we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to get to the part where we're going. Keep your back down and flat. We're going to start in our dead bug position, and then we're going to extend our body out to this position. Point your toes, put your arms overhead, and if your back starts to arch, then you got to go back to your dead bugs and stick with level 1 until you have enough strength to do this. It's quite difficult to hold this position. We're going to hold for up to 30 seconds each set, making sure our back is nice and firmly pressed into the ground. If that one is too easy, or if you want an alternate path, we're going to go Garhammer raise. So this is a knee raise with legs extended at the end, and then lowering down nice and slow. Knees go up as high as you can, extend the legs, lower down nice and slow. What's really important on this one is that our back is in the same position. So if your spine is curved on this, you're not using your core properly. You have to keep that back nice and flat as you go forward with it. If that one is still too easy, then we go to level 4 for our anti-extension, and that's going to be leg raises or toes to bar. So hold on to your bar, whatever you're using, and we're going to go down and up all the way, and making sure again our back is in that flat position and we're not curving our spine at all. That would be level 4. And that'll take us into anti-rotation. So anti-rotation is going to be the ring Pallof press. We can use our rings, our TRX, or our bed sheet. What we're going to do is get into an incline position with our leg that's closer to the floor, or hip that's closer to the floor, standing out front. Hold the rings right into your chest, or the one ring, and then press out, hold extended for a couple counts, and then back in, out, back in, out, back in. And we're looking for somewhere between, well, really, this is more for time. You can do repetitions if you're holding it out there for at least a second, somewhere between 8 and 12. But if we're holding it for time, if you want to just work on the holds as well, then we're aiming for somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds on this. And we're just going to stick with the same exercise for our whole anti-rotation, because this is great for working on the core strength for shooting and all kinds of stiffness qualities to translate your horizontal speed. Just add more incline to make it tougher each time and keep your sets under 30 seconds. And then lastly, we're going to go with our extension. So we've got level 1. These are just different types of Superman. So level 1 is just going to be legs off the floor. Now I'm going to link an extra video in the description of this to a physical therapist talking you through exactly how to do this properly, because some people will do this and then hold a position with their back completely arched, and that's going to end up causing you some lower back pain and other problems. We're trying to lengthen our whole body as far as we can and then squeeze our glutes and our hamstrings and the muscles in your lower back to raise your feet off the floor. And if you do it right, it's going to build up a lot of good strength in that area without causing problems. So level 1 is just raising our feet and holding them up. Level 2 is going to be full Superman holds. So really pull your toes and your hands away from each other. We're holding anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. If you can do 30 seconds for 3 sets, then we go to Superman hold rocks. So this one is going to be our harder version. We're going to get into our Superman position, and then we're going to try to keep it as best we can and rock back and forth and maintain that position and rigidity between our posterior chains, so lower back, glutes, and hamstrings. Once again, to recap with our core, what we're doing here is one exercise from our anti-rotation, whatever, or anti-extension, whatever level you're on, rest 60 seconds. Then we're doing our ring powerlift press for our anti-rotation, rest 60 seconds. And then we're doing our Superman set for extension training, and then we're resting 60 seconds, and then repeating the whole superset of 3 exercises. So you can do anywhere from 2 to 4 sets on that one. You might want to start with 2, especially if you're not used to the core training yet, and then work your way up to 4 as you go through it. Lastly, we're going to go through a little bit of prehab and mobility. So we've got 4 exercises for this. We'll go one at a time here. First one's going to be scap shrugs. So we are going to be working just the scapula here specifically after we've done all our rows and tired out a lot of these muscles. We're going to keep our arms straight, and we're going to push our shoulders forward as far as we can. And what you see here as well is we want to be doing this with really good posture. So instead of having your shoulders high up at your ears, we're putting them down and pulling our whole shoulder blades down and back. And then we're just going to work on retraction. So arms are straight, retract the scapula, let it go. Retract the scapula, let it go. We're bringing our shoulders forward and then pulling back and squeezing and holding for just a second at the end. However steep you put the angle that you're pulling on, it's going to make this harder. We're just going to do 1 set for somewhere between 15 and 20 repetitions. Then we're going to move into our scap push-ups. Same idea with push-ups. Arms are straight, and we're just working on moving our scapula. We want to make sure, once again, our shoulders don't come up towards our ears. They stay down and back, and then we're really working on the strength through our scapula. And this is going to help build up all those muscles that help keep your shoulders stabilized through sports and contact, and also help you get a good posture just for walking around and keeping good health. Then we're going to go into the next one. This one is our IYTL. So it's not quite a Superman hold. We're going to keep our feet down on the ground, and we're really working on the inner back muscles right here. So the mid traps, we're going to start in an I position. So make an I with your body. You can do thumbs up and thumbs down, and then we're going to rotate into a Y position, and that's going to change how you use your back muscles just a little bit and which ones are firing. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and then a T position, thumbs up, thumbs down, and then finish off with your L position, or arms as close to your sides as you can, thumbs up and thumbs down. We want to hold each one of these spots, the I, the Y, the T, and the L, for 10 seconds each, minimum. You can go longer on those if that's easy. We're just going to do one set. And if you can do this really easily with just body weight and just your arms out, you can grab light weights, 1 pound dumbbells, or something else that you have close by, a couple water bottles. But if you feel or you see your scapula not retracting properly and holding in the middle, then use less weight. And as soon as you feel that the scapula starts to give way, we're going to stop this exercise. So lastly, we're going to go shoulder dislocates. So we're not actually dislocating our shoulders on this exercise, of course. This is a gymnastics one that's really good for getting your chest to be a little bit further back and posture work for your shoulders and range of motion. We're going to grab a hockey stick or a broom handle and hold it quite wide to start. The narrower you go with that grip, the harder this is going to be. And very, very slowly over time, we want to work to a little bit more of a narrow grip so that your shoulders are moving really well through a full range of motion. So at the beginning of this one, right here, we're going to start by lifting our shoulders up to our ears in a position that we normally don't want to be in, but is okay to be in for mobility work, and then come around over the top, have our shoulders come back down on the outside, touch that stick to your butt, and then right back up the other way. This is really, really, it feels great for your chest and your shoulders, and it's just super, super helpful for overall mobility work.